Okay, so it's literally that time. I will just wait for 5 o'clock so that anybody who is here at that correct time doesn't miss the beginning, so that um, no information slips away. Uh, Good. It's 5 sharp. So, my name is Katarzyna Wroblowska, and I was invited to tell you something about how it works with primary schools and enrolling children into primary schools in the Czech Republic. You might have noticed that it's quite a complex um, issue, and that a lot of things are not obvious. So I hope that what I'm going to tell you about is going to be helpful. Uh, I am actually by profession, I'm an interpreter and a language teacher. So it's actually not my specialization, but I have two sons, and I've gone through quite a lot of these things. So I hope that my experience can be helpful for you. Um, Unfortunately, we have been experiencing some technical difficulties, and that's why I'm not able to share my presentation as I was planning to. So it's going to be put into the comments for you so that you can actually get some of the information and maybe some names of things and some sort of more complicated things from the presentation. And of course, at the end, there's going to be a Q&A section. So if there are any questions that you have, feel free to ask them at the end, because maybe I will answer some of the things already during the presentation. So just wait till the end. I will call for questions at a certain point, and you will be able to ask. Right. So as far as the obligatory start of formal education is concerned, in the Czech Republic, your child is obliged to attend primary school from the September following their 6th birthday. If you have a feeling that your child is not ready, you cannot decide to send your child to school later by yourself. You actually have to have an expert assessment of their readiness, and on the basis of that, you are allowed to delay the start of school by 1 year. Also, one maybe important thing for those of you who have younger children can be the fact that it's already obligatory to attend school the year before your child turns 6. So this is actually at a preschool, at some kind of a preschool, but that part of education is also obligatory. And what is important for you guys is that when you're a foreigner, you are obliged to follow the Czech rules if you are staying in the Czech Republic for longer than 3 months. So already after this short time, you are actually obliged to follow the Czech rules. Right. As far as the types of schools are concerned, I mean, what kind of school you can choose from for your child. Let's say that there are two different aspects to this. One aspect is who the founder is. So we have state-run schools and private schools. When you actually enroll your child into a state-run school, you officially shouldn't be forced to pay any tuition fees. I will talk later about why that's not entirely true, but officially the state-run education is free of charge. In private schools, there are usually tuition fees and they may vary. In the area of Ostrava, it's let's say mostly between 5 and 12,000 Czech crowns per month. But you would have to check with that particular school that you're interested in and see what their rules are, because some schools have also different pricing for different situations. You are sometimes able to get a scholarship if your child is talented, or you might get a discount if you have more children at one school, and so on. Sometimes when you are an employee of a school, of a private school, you also get a discount for your children to attend that same school. So this is, I would say that the founder of the school is very important from the point of view of finances. From the point of view of style of teaching, most state-run schools are, I would say, a little bit old-fashioned. I mean, as far as the philosophy and the teaching methods are concerned. So you should actually try to find out about what the headmaster actually pursues and what kind of philosophy there is at that school. Mostly when it is, let's say, a classical school in the Czech environment, it involves mostly frontal teaching, and there is evaluation by grades. The grades are numbers from 1 to 5, where number 1 is the best and number 5 is the worst. It's like a fail. And in different schools, you actually encounter extremely varying approaches, and the quality is rather varied as well, depending on particular teachers and partly on the headmaster, because mostly it is the headmaster who chooses who teaches at that school, and meeting the headmaster actually can tell you a lot. As far as, oh, sorry, I actually skipped all the other types. So apart from this, let's say, style that is the prevailing one in the Czech Republic, you can also find Waldorf style schools. They can be both state-run and private. You can find Montessori schools, which are also sometimes private and sometimes state-run. There are bilingual schools. Sometimes, or a lot of the time, it is English and Czech. I think for secondary school in Ostrava, you can also find a Spanish-Czech one. And in the Ostrava region, you can find some Polish language schools. And then the last type I would mention, I'm just talking about the most common ones. For sure you will find some different ones, some more specific ones. But as far as the most common types are concerned, the last type I would mention is there are some special schools which cater for children with special needs. So if you have that child, the child with a child with special needs, there is a possibility to find a special school where they are prepared to work with children who need some specific attention or specific methods. As far as the enrollment itself is concerned, this year in 2021, registrations might take place between the 1st and the 30th of April. This is a range, a period that was decided by the Ministry of Education, and the exact date when it is going to be done at a certain school is actually up to the school. So they can choose any date between the 1st and the 30th of April. And it can be just one day or more, depending on how the school decides. So when you have some schools that you think might be good for your child, it's really necessary to go to their website or maybe just go to the school. They usually have some kind of a notice either on the gate or on the front door or on some kind of a notice board. So you can usually find out electronically on the internet or at the school itself. It's also important to know that this year, with the COVID situation being so complicated, different schools have chosen to follow different procedures. So that's another thing you would like to find out from some materials from that particular school you are interested in. Because there are schools that set up online appointments with the people interested. There are schools that go with the classical in-person registration. There are schools that have opted for some kind of a mail-in application. So you have to find out what is actually valid for your particular case. As far as the documents you need are concerned, this is actually relatively simple. You need your child's birth certificate or their passport, and you need your own passport to actually identify yourself to the school. And that's that. There are some schools that might ask you, if you're a foreigner, they might ask you for a health insurance card. When you're actually registered with a Czech insurance company, you get a card of some kind, which is some kind of a proof that you're registered for health insurance. Some schools might ask you for that, but if you actually don't have it, or for some reason you're not able to present that, it cannot be used as a reason for not accepting your child. So don't worry too much if that's a problem. It's really enough to come with with a passport or a birth certificate for your child and your own ID card or a passport. And we come to something that is a little bit more tricky, and that is the fact that it can happen in some schools that there are too many applicants. It happens mainly with schools that are very good and very popular. And you might be wondering what will happen if there are more children than there are places in that first year. This is something that actually is up to the school to decide as well. Different schools have different criteria of choice from the candidates if there are too many of them. And so this is something you might like to inquire about as well, because it might have a big influence on how high the probability of you getting to the school you want is. So for the state-run schools, the criteria normally include a permanent address in the vicinity. It might also help if there is a sibling already attending the school. And the third criterion that is mostly included is that the child's start of school attendance was already postponed. So that's something that I was talking about at the beginning. When you feel that your child is not ready, or the teachers at the preschool tell you that they feel that your child is not ready, and you get that expert assessment saying that, the school attendance will be postponed by 1 year. And when you have a child whose school attendance has already been postponed, then it actually serves as an extra as extra points for your child in case that there are too many applicants. Because the logic is that, let's say, your child, because their school attendance, the start of their school attendance has been postponed, now they are in urgent need to start. So they actually have priority over some other children. But as I said, with mainly, specifically with private schools, this can be completely different, and they can choose their own criteria. So you really have to inquire at the school of your choice. Some information that is specific to being a foreigner and having a child at a Czech school. You should know that your child is actually entitled to 3 extra lessons of Czech. So they are going to be following the curriculum of that school, but after the lessons that are held for everybody, they should be getting extra lessons of the Czech language. And this is something that I think might be quite useful for you to know if you actually enroll in a school where they have experience with foreign children. They will probably know about it, and they might offer it themselves. But if you enroll in a school where they haven't had any foreigners yet, they might not be aware of that, and it's good for you to know and to ask for it. At the Ostrava Expat Center, there is a link, there is a list of some schools that have proven to be foreigner friendly. So feel free to check that. It actually, unfortunately, lists only schools that are in the area of Ostrava city. Out of Ostrava, foreigners also have very good experience with schools in the town of Frýdek Místek, especially primary school at Československé armády. Just for your information, mostly the names of schools, or at least the state-run ones, are derived from the name of the street where they actually are placed. So the primary school Československé armády is at Československé armády street. And then there's another one that we can recommend to you as a foreigner, and that's in the town of Opava, schools in the town of Opava, but namely primary school Edvarda Beneše. As far as other towns are concerned, there seem to be a lot of foreigners these days in the town of Havířov as well, which means that schools in Havířov also have experience with foreign pupils, specifically the primary school Na Nábřeží and the primary school Moravska. So these might be places where things would be slightly easier for you as parents due to more experience and maybe more flexibility, or willing to be more cooperative with foreign parents. So that's about schools that might be a good choice for you and your child. And I'd like to mention a couple of facts that are maybe a little bit difficult to understand when you come from a different country and you're used to a different system and different culture. There are several things that might surprise you and might be a little bit confusing. So I've already mentioned one of them briefly, and that was the school fees. The Czech law says that education in the Czech language should be free at a state-run school. And at the same time, when you actually have a school that is a little bit, that's trying to be a little bit better, they are trying to use more modern methods, or they are trying to provide something more or some better service to the children, their costs might be higher. And that's why it's actually not always true that when you enroll your child in a state-run school, that it doesn't cost you anything. The thing is that, for instance, sometimes you find out that there is something called Parents Club membership fee, or some kind of a sponsorship that is required, or a gift to the school. And this is actually, unfortunately, and I'm sorry to say that, some kind of a disguise for a school fee. So it is highly advisable for you to check these, let's say, voluntary gifts that might not be completely voluntary, because the school is trying to provide something more than state-run schools normally do. You should also be aware of the fact that in most schools, it is possible for your child to get a lunch. I would say it's not only possible, it's actually something that is taken as an automatic thing. Even if it's true that when your child is young, their lessons might stop before lunchtime, but there are always school canteens, and it's always possible to get a lunch, and vast majority of children actually have lunch at the school. But the price of the lunch is not included in any school fees, even if there are some official school fees. So this is something you should be ready for, and you should also maybe ask about the price, even if the price is not normally steep, because lunches are subsidized by the Czech state, so it shouldn't be something that would ruin your budget or put you in a complicated situation in any way, but it is some extra money that you should count with. So that's one topic. Another one is the concept of družina. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but once your children start attending school, you will for sure do. The thing is that when young children start school, they usually have, let's say, between 4 and 5 lessons per day. Most schools start at 8, maybe 8:45 or 9, but that means that basically the school lessons finish before lunchtime. The thing is that it's actually not maybe a good idea to to send the kids home at that moment, because most parents are obviously at work. So there is something called družina, which is some kind of a afternoon care service provided to young children. The age limit might depend on the school again, on the capacity, on how many people actually want to take advantage of this. But because of course there are moms that have younger children and they are stay-at-home moms, and it's okay for their child to come home at noon. Or some people have grandparents who are happy to pick up the children. So the situation might be very different for different people. And so it really depends on the capacities of the school and on how many children are interested from each grade. So this is something you might like to inquire about as well, whether there is some kind of afternoon care service, and until what age your school is actually able to provide that. So this is about the organization of afternoons. And maybe one more piece of information connected to this is that, as I said, it's not this afternoon care service is not something that would be obligatory. It's not something that would be included in the official program. So it's mostly, let's say, babysitting. Of course, there are some caretakers that might prepare some program for the children, but I would say that most of the time it's up to the children how they are going to spend the time, and they can just play together or do their homework if they wish to do so, or maybe join in some organized activities, but it's much freer than the first part of the day. And the last concept that I'd like to mention in this section is gymnasium. It's a name of a type of school, and the interesting part is that it is actually something like a grammar school in the Anglo-Saxon terminology. It is a type of school that actually is supposed to prepare children for studies at the university. So let's say that mostly talented children go to this kind of school. The problematic part, or the confusing part, is that it can start after the 5th grade already. So there are children that attend a primary school until the 5th grade only, and then they pass entrance tests and they already go to a secondary school, which actually in the Czech environment normally starts only after you've finished the obligatory 9 years of school attendance. So let's say that majority of children go to a primary school for 9 years, and then they go to a secondary school. But if you feel for some reason that your child needs a more challenging environment, or maybe some place where they are going to be more prepared for some academic career, it might be possible to send them to a gymnasium already after the 5th grade or after the 7th grade. So there is something called osmileté gymnasium, which means that it's an 8-year program at a gymnasium, and it starts after the 5th grade of primary school. There is something called šestileté gymnasium, which means that it's a 6-year program at a gymnasium, starting after the 7th grade at a primary school, and then the let's say most usual one is čtyřleté gymnasium, which is a 4-year program, and it only starts after the 9 years of primary school have finished. So this is something that could be a little bit difficult to understand when you are not familiar with this whole concept. I'd like to mention homeschooling as well, because this is something that is relatively common in countries around the world, but the situation is slightly difficult in the Czech Republic. If you want to educate your child outside the system of schools, it is actually only possible with let's say permission or an approval of the headmaster of the school where your child is enrolled. Meaning that whenever your child turns 6, you actually have to, you are obliged to enroll them at a school. When you don't, it's actually, let's say, a criminal act, and you can be prosecuted for that. So officially, you must enroll your child to start the 1st September after they turn 6, and they have to attend a school for 9 school years. As I've mentioned before, a delay is only possible when you have this expert assessment saying that they are not ready to start school, and you get that from a place called pedagogicko-psychologická poradna. Some people call it just PPP, but pedagogicko-psychologická poradna. And this is the only way for your child to legally start later. But anyway, you have to enroll them at a school. When you have enrolled them at a school, you can require an approval to homeschool your child from the headmaster or headmistress of the school. The complicated part is that you're actually not in the Czech environment, in the Czech legal frame. You're not entitled, you don't have a right to do that. So it's possible that the headmaster will say no, which might make you rather upset. So actually, if you if you wish to homeschool your child, it's best to contact the headmaster much before you actually enroll your child. Ask them what their position on this is, and if the headmaster is against it, and it's usually not that they would be against it in your case, it's just that they are generally against it. It's actually better not to enroll your child at that particular school and find a school where the headmaster is open to this. The thing is that once you actually get that approval, you are only bound to come for, let's say, testing with your child. Unfortunately, you still have to, let's say, fulfill some kind of a general curriculum with your child. And there are some things that they should know after each term, let's say. And you are obliged to come to be tested. The child must be tested twice a year to check that the education at home is actually being done sufficiently. What this means is that since you don't actually have to come very often, many parents find a school where the headmaster is open to homeschooling, and this school might be at a different part of the Czech Republic, maybe. But you know, the school is cooperative, and you just come there twice a year for your child to be tested. They say that everything's okay, and you can continue homeschooling. If ever the headmaster decides that your child is actually not fulfilling the criteria, and that that they, let's say, failed the test, unfortunately, the homeschooling would be finished, and the child would have to start attending the school. So at that moment, it would it might cause you trouble, but you can always change schools. And also, I'm actually mentioning this because when you find a school where the headmaster is open to homeschooling, it's usually quite harmonious. The cooperation is usually quite harmonious, and you can always talk to them, and they don't usually give you problems. So this is something that is really extremely specific in the Czech Republic, and you might like to try to find out a lot of information in advance, because you might make your life quite hard if you don't, and if things come up only after you've enrolled. So this is actually as much as I've prepared to tell you in this monologue of mine. Of course, you can find more information at the www.ostravaexpat.eu/expat/schools and education. But this is a link that you don't really need. When you go to the Expat Center website, you are going to be able to find it quite easily. And now is the time for your questions. So I will close the presentation, and I will see whether there are some questions coming that you'd like me to answer. So I'll just scroll up to see. Yes, so there are some greetings, and yeah, Hazy is saying that all the schools are using the same criteria. That's only valid for state-run schools. When you're enrolling at a private school, they can choose any criteria that they want. My little son is actually going to start school next year, and his school has different criteria for choosing from the surplus candidates. Okay, I cannot see any questions at this point. So if you have any, feel free to ask them. I don't know if there is some kind of a delay, so I'll be waiting a little bit longer. But if there are actually no questions, I will say goodbye, and thanks for your attention. And let's hope that your enrollment is going to be very harmonious, and you are not going to encounter any trouble at all, and your child will go to the school that you most wished for. Right, so I think that we can probably finish. So thank you very much and good luck.